Well, welcome back to 8-Bit Benny versus the Fair Business. So, shortly after signing off last episode, when we were looking at the Lich Tower, I did a little exploring, and hey, guess what's over there? That is a hollow hill right over there, right within sight of where we were. So let's go take a quick look on the inside before I set up the quarry. So you can tell it's a hollow hill because, well, it looks like a big mound. So that's usually the easy way to tell. There is usually an entrance in and out down low. I usually don't like to do that. I've usually got a jetpack, so I like to fly in through the top. So what I've done is I've dug a hole straight through the top just to verify that it was a hollow hill. Let's get our crossbow ready. So, pop. So this is a large, I believe this one's a large hollow hill. So as we can see, it has stalactites that have a bunch of resources in them. In fact, if you look over here, you're going to see there's one with diamonds, which is great. That's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a big source of diamonds. The other thing this place has is a ton, well, it's really dark, so we can light it up, but it also has a ton of monster spawners. So you can see we have skeletons and stuff around. If we go over to the end here, you can see there's a monster spawner there. There's probably a couple over here. Yeah, oh, there's the bugs. So you can see, and it's just dark, so it's really easy for monsters to spawn here. But there's also treasure chests galore, so that's going to be fun to explore in here. And oh wow, there's a ravine down there. What's that? Oh right, this is one of the things we need to do. We need to defeat these guys, don't we? Got it. That was easy. Oh, and we leveled up. That being said, guess what? This needs to go away. Wow. Come on, come on. Oh yeah, I got you. Dodging arrows. That's great. Come on. This is a no-fly zone for you, buddy. Only I get to fly here. Ooh, I wonder if there's another spawner. Wow. Okay. So we can do a bit of exploring in here and check out the treasure chests. But oh, nice lapis and coal, and yeah. So this is going to be a great place to grab resources. Wow, there's a massive amount of coal in here. We should probably light this place up a little bit so that the monsters will stop spawning everywhere. And just where the spawners are. Hi. Not sure if these guys spawn from spawners or if they spawn naturally here. That's a good question. And I should eat something. It's a great thing I got all those hearts and equipped them because I've sure needed them the last two episodes. Alright, let me light this place up and we will explore in a minute. Once I stop all the mundane monsters from spawning. Alright, so we've done a little bit of construction here. So I've gone to the edge of the hill, so I'm looking at the edge on the ground here, and the edge about there. So I want to get this whole thing at once. Now, to set up our quarry, we need to set up our landmarks. The landmarks are going to allow us to define the area of the quarry. If you use the quarry just by itself, I believe it does a 3x3 area. By using the landmarks, we can define, we can make the area larger, and we can define where that area falls. So if I put down a redstone torch here, somebody's going to scream at me. The redstone is going to energize the landmark. The landmark is going to shoot blue beams in all the directions, all 6. That shows us where the extent of the boundary is for the quarry. So the quarry can go, let's see, let's put our marks on here. So these are our chunk markers. The quarry can go, I think it's 64 blocks in all directions. So by somebody wants to interrupt me. Um, so by having the redstone torch on there, the beam came out here. I then added some cobblestone to get up to the right spot, and then I knew exactly where to put the landmark. So that's a lot of fun. That's makes it a lot easier than what I used to do, which was counting before I found out about the redstone torch trick. So that was kind of annoying. And I've gone and I've over here I have gone and put up another one as well, and it's right there. The other thing I might do is, I wonder if I can do it this way. Nope. Oh, right. So also right-clicking on the the landmark, sorry, will show you also where the next connecting one is. So that'll show you by right-clicking, and when the red line appears, it shows you that there is a valid landmark within range. So now, of course, we could have this landmark. I'm trying to go as big as I can because I'm trying to get this hill in as few quarries as possible. Hollow hills, usually it takes 4 of them, so I'm going to let this work. It's going to drill down all the way to bedrock. Then I'm going to move it and let it go again. I'm going to do that 4 times. So it's going to take 4 times to empty out this hollow hill. So by having the landmark, by right-clicking the landmark, I can tell what is valid and what's not. We can see, oh, interesting. Oh, so it's giving me the boundaries. I thought it would tell me if it was a valid placement or not. But I guess by clicking on it, it gives you what the extent of that marker is, which is also another way you could set up the markers at the maximum distance. So this is showing me what area we are going to quarry. So we can actually kind of go up here a bit. We can see we're getting a little more than 1/4 of it. So that's great. The other thing we're going to do, did I bring it with me? I did not. Let's go back to the portal. We're going to go grab our quarry and some other things to set this up. I'm not sure if I've brought enough energy with me to actually have this go all the way, but that's fine. I might actually make another chest here as well. Actually, let's do a double chest. No, I'll do a single. I'll do another single. Because, you know what? We have a chest over there. So, let's go back to our quarry zone. And we're going to go set this quarry up. We'll see what happens. One of the problems with quarries is, you'll see once we place it, which I won't do yet because... Got it. What I want to do is, I want when we set the quarry, it's going to interact with the landmark. Before I set that quarry down, I want to put down an ender chest. Boom. So what's going to happen is the quarry, when it mines things, is going to spit out the bottom. By putting an ender chest here, which is linked up with our ender chest at home, you can see the feather that just popped in there. It's going to spit all the contents into here, which is going to spit into our storage drawer system. At which point we can then, once we have more drives, we can put it into our ME2 system. So that's the whole reason for that. All right. So what we're going to do now is, now that we have our ender chest down, is we are going to put down our... Let's right-click. Boom! Now, we're going to see we have a little... our landmark has dropped, and we now have a checkered line showing us what part is going to become the truss work that will run the drill that is going to quarry all this out. I do want to go collect the landmarks, because as soon as the quarry goes down, the landmarks pop up off their base. And although landmarks are just a redstone torch with a bit of lapis, I like to keep them because, really, why would you have to why do you want to rebuild things more than once? Now, there is another option. Before we put that down, if we had put another landmark high up, we could actually extend how tall this truss work will be. Which is probably what I should have done, because I really want to take out these trees. And that's not going to happen now because of where I've put the quarry. So that's kind of too bad. That's interesting. I don't remember seeing that there before. That's fine. So, what do we need to do now? Well, now we need to supply it with power. So, I'm going to put down this chest here. And just put some stuff in there so that we don't lose said stuff. And I believe I can put the power on the top. Put that there. Let's check the settings. Don't know what's happening there. Where's all my power going? That's interesting. I have to say I've not seen that before. Huh. I don't think something like the druids are protecting it or anything. Huh. Okay, so obviously something is working because we're losing trees here, which is exactly what it should be doing. It should be drilling out anything within this area. Typically, there is a little robot that appears that in the center of it that will drill that out, but I don't see it there. So maybe it's just a matter of a graphical reset or something. Well, let's try again. Yeah, so the quarry's getting definitely getting the energy. So let's just make those blank. And then we'll see if I don't know, that's kind of odd to me. Odd. Well, it's definitely working. Oh, I see. So the energy that's spewing out, what I thought was redstone energy, is actually the quarry deleting everything in its way. So right now it is deleting these things. It is not collecting them. So basically it's clearing the path for the truss work, which usually happens pretty darn fast. That's interesting. You can see the truss work is starting to go up now. How's that doing? It's draining pretty fast. That's okay. So I will have to stop this at some point. The one thing I want to do once this is up and running is I'm going to pause it so that I can go in and harvest all the treasure chests. I'm not 100% certain if when it pops the treasure chests, if it will collect things or whether it just destroys them. So I want to grab them beforehand just to make sure. So that truss work is almost done. Ta-da! And now we see we have a little arm here with a little bit on it, and that bit is going to mine all of this stuff. So in fact, if we open up our bag here, we're going to see it'll destroy the leaves because it can't actually harvest them, but it's going to actually put all of the dirt and the wood and stuff like that into the quarry. So now it is going to drill its way all the way down. And this is why we need a big storage system, because we're going to get a lot of stuff. Just looking at dirt and the stone alone, we are going to get a ton of stuff in here. Wow, that's running pretty fast. I like that. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go pause it, and then I will go explore inside the hill. And there we go. Stop the energy from leaving. Wow. Okay, I'm going to need a bigger energy cell. Oh, and it stopped dead. That's nice. Yeah, it's been using up energy pretty fast. So this is going to take a lot more energy than I thought. But that's fine. We can handle that, can't we? Yes, we can. I will have to come up with a different system for energy at some point, but for now, this will work to get us started. So I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to I'll get rid of some of this extra cobblestone because we don't need that cobblestone around. I do like to leave a platform here What I'd like to do as well is I'm actually going to put a hopper hawk in here so that ever should we find the system at home gets filled, we will still have a place, we'll still be collecting the items. So I'll put a gold chest here and we can actually keep collecting all those items. So I'm going to cut here and I will be back. And we are back at the quarry. I did have this full a moment ago, and you can see how fast it is draining, so we'll definitely have to find a different way to power this. I've set a backup gathering system, so if by chance the ender chest gets full, like it is right now, it will have a chance to, the quarry will start spitting stuff out on this little platform here. When that happens, the hopper hawk here will collect it and it'll throw it into this gold chest here, which should be fine for keeping objects until it runs out of energy, like almost now. So that was, wow, that was like 30 seconds. That was not very long. That's a little sad. So we will definitely have to look at setting up something a lot better than that one energy cell. We will have to set up a way to pipe the energy over here from the base is what we're going to have to do. So, ooh, free obsidian. What are we going to do for that? I'll have to look up the item. There is an item, tesseract, that's what it is. So we're going to have to build some tesseracts, which would be great because we do have a lot of Enderium and the ability to make even more Enderium. Hey guys, oh, your dryads, you're okay. You're not going to hurt me. We do have the ability to make some Enderium, which will allow us to create our tesseract. So we're going to have to go, we're going to have to go check that out and see what it's going to take to make that. Did you get in there? You did. That's fine. That's fine. Alright, so let's go back to base and find out what it's going to take to build a tesseract. If we build two of them, basically a tesseract can act as a conduit between 2 points in existence, and you can pump liquids, solids, and energy. So that's going to be pretty cool. You can actually set up channels, so you can have multiple tesseracts working on different channels to power different things. So let's go back to the base, and we're going to go take a look at what it's going to take to set one of those up. Alright, here we are back at base, and we are looking at the recipe for the Tesseract frame. Tesseract frame? That's right, we need to build the Tesseract frame before we can fill it with Resonant Ender, which is not the same as Enderium. We'll have to melt out some of our Ender Pearls to get the Resonant Ender, which would be fine, and once it's full, we can then use it. Ta-da! Oh, that's a Tesseract frame full, and then we have to, oh, right. Okay, well that should be fine. We've got lots of silver. We may have to bank some bronze, but that's okay. I think bronze is actually kind of easy to make. He says not actually fully knowing copper and tin. Yeah, that's not bad. Alright, so let's look at our frame to begin with. We need some hardened glass, some Enderium. Let's make some ingots. Let's see. That's loud. Let's find out where our Enderium is. Oh, that's a lot of lag. That's disappointing. Alright, so we have Enderium here. Let's take 8 because we want to make 2 of these. We need some glass. This is silly. Tell you what. Let me cut here. I'm gonna gather the materials and then I'll bring it back in before I craft it. Alright. Well, that was a bit of serious lag. Enough that actually something was wrong and the server crashed. So this is actually a completely new recording day that this is continuing, but that's fine because guess what? We have finished the Tesseract. So what do we have to do to make this thing? So as you saw, we had to build a Tesseract frame to begin with. So we needed a diamond. We needed some hardened glass, although I think I used fused quartz. You can use either. So the fused quartz is 4 of these into the alloy smelter, gives you the fused quartz, or the hardened glass is crushed obsidian with some lead ingot. So this is probably actually cheaper, or at least easier. Oh, that's right, molten lead onto obsidian. But You know what? I was being kind of lazy, so I decided to do the fused quartz because I had the quartz. Obviously, we had the Enderium agates were easy to do. I did make 2 of these because we want to. We want a sender and a receiver to begin with. Then we had to fill the frame up by putting our resonant ender into it. And how did we do that? Well, we went over here and grabbed some ender pearls, and we put them into our magma crucible, which is currently set up to eject out the side. So this is the front face, this is the top, this is the bottom, this is the left side, that's the right side, and that's the back. So we've set this to orange, which is eject, so it actually automatically ejects into our fluid transposer. So you can see there's a bit of resonant ender in there. Resonant ender. Apparently I need to do some vocal exercises before I start recording. We have a bit left over in there from what we used to fill our 2 tesseracts, which really, do I have? I've got a tank here. Let's leave the resonant ender in there for the moment, because that's fine. So by doing that, we filled up both of our tesseracts. So we then had a tesseract frame that was full. And then for the 3rd step, we had to grab some silver and some bronze, which we created by mixing some tin and 3 copper. So 1 tin and 3 copper gave us some bronze ingots, which allowed us to surround it, and then boom, we have our tesseract. So that is super cool. What's the tesseract do for us? Well, all right, how do I want to do this? Let's put this here. Sure. Boom. So now we have a tesseract up here. What does that do? First and foremost, let's make sure our energy cell here is spitting out the top. It's orange, so we're good. So what we want to do is we want to set up our tesseract. So we're right-clicking, and we need to set a channel. Let's call this RF. Let's set that up as an RF channel. Add frequency. Let's call it frequency 1. There we go. So we have, ignore that, configuration. So in this one, we can set this up. So each one, it can do item, fluid, and energy. For this one, we want it to only send energy. So we're going to turn off the item mode. Fluid mode, we're also going to turn off. We're just left-clicking to change the status of that. Energy mode is currently set to receive on, send and receive, blocked, and we want to send only. So when we set up our other tesseract, we're going to set it to channel 1, which is RF, and we're going to set it to receive only, and it is going to receive the energy from this tesseract. So that should be... Oh, and then we have to go back in and set the frequency, I think. Well, we're about to see. So now that we have that set up, that should hopefully be feeding energy into it. Once it has something, let's open up our warp book. Let's go to the Twilight Forest. Once we're in the Twilight Forest, we're going to set the other tesseract down. Actually, I suppose I should probably set it down and configure it before I attach it to our quarry, which is over yonder. We can see as it starts to draw as our chunks get loaded. So we're going to go over yonder. We can see we have our we have our other hardened energy cell, our pitiful little 2 million RF that it ate through like nothing. I'll keep that. Let's set our tesseract down. We're going to set it up first. Now, the fun thing about tesseracts, obviously, we can send and receive items and fluids as well. So at some point, we can use our tesseracts to send power, items, and fluids all over the place, which would be very cool. We could actually probably set this up to receive fluids and set up a pump here as well to pull the water out, which I might need to do, because the one thing I have issues with this, send only, no, receive only. The one issue I have with the quarries, especially with the hollow hills, is that it tends to have a lot of water blocks in it, and when the water blocks break, they cause a lot of lag because, of course, they want to be they're cascading down, which is causing a lot of block loading and stuff like that. So we're going to set this to channel 1. We're going to click, so that turns on. We're going to disable that. And we can see it's receiving energy. So we're now sending energy. Wow. Apparently we're sending a lot of energy because it seems to be going smoking fast. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on this because the big thing we're going to see is that we're going to get a lot of items out of this. I'm going to think that we might run out of room at the base. But luckily we have our chest here to grab any stray items. So, the other thing we could do actually is if we set this up on the bottom, we could actually get this to receive the items from our quarry, and then we could make this into a 2-block item, which would be fantastic for transporting it, because then it would be really super easy to set up in a bunch of different places, which is exactly what we're going to have to do, because once this quarry is done, we are going to have to move it over, and we're going to try and get this portion of the hill as well. Ideally, I'd like to make one big deep pit and just take the whole hill. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this off. I'm going to turn it off because I'm not sure if the treasure chests inside are going... Well, that was pretty fast. I'm not sure if the treasure chests inside are going to drop their items and then be picked up by the quarry, or if they're just going to drop and then despawn, or if when the chest breaks inside that the items just completely disappear and it harvests the chests but nothing inside. So to be paranoid, I'm going to go down and I'm going to harvest all the items out of the chests, and then we don't have to worry about it. In fact, what I might do is I might be sneaky and I might put a unique item into one of the chests. Maybe I'll name one of my old picks or something. And that way, if it does get consumed, I can find it in my inventory in the base. That way I can test and see if it does in fact gather the items or whether they just drop, and I don't have to worry about losing anything. But I'm going to do that all off camera. So, I hope you enjoyed this week. What did we do this week? We set up our quarry finally. We set up the energy to get our quarry up and running. And we also set up our tesseract so that we do not have to keep running back and forth and refilling an energy cell. So basically the tesseract will give us infinite energy as long as we have energy at our base, and as long as our base is loading, which is, something that we have already set up. So, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. That helps me out, and it tells me that you're actually enjoying what you're seeing. Feel free to share with your friends and leave comments below. I enjoy reading comments. It's been a while since I've gotten any, but hey, this is YouTube, and it's kind of hard to stick out from a pack that is millions of people wide. So, until next week, have some good gaming, and I will see yous.